Welcome to Reflections. With me today is a chatter. She's been on YouTube and the internet for years. During that time, she's visited many online communities and sites and seen and done a lot. Her experiences give her a unique perspective on things, which is why I wanted to sit down with her for an interview. She's opinionated and not afraid to show it, but I've also found her to be fair and logical and often funny. Unfortunately, these qualities aren't always well received in communities more interested in dragging people for fun and content than civil discourse. Because of all that, I wanted to bring her on for a discussion about YouTube and the internet, especially some of the recent events in certain drama circles. Daria, welcome to Reflections.
Hello.
Hi, Daria. It is really good to have you here. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's kind of jump into some YouTube stuff, some of the latest drama. And I'm going to have you kind of lay a little bit of groundwork too for people, your history, how long you've been around, how long you've been on here, kind of some of the communities that you visit. So kind of give us a little bit of background on how you found all this kind of stuff, some of the communities that you have found over the years and, that kind of stuff. Give us the YouTube version of Daria.
Okay, no problem. So I don't exactly remember how I got into all of these drama communities. I kind of know the topics that steered me towards so when I first came to YouTube, I was watching stuff on like true crime, a little bit of, I don't want to say like Chris Hansen type stuff where it was like TV shows that were, it's not really meant for entertainment, but then there was also streamers that would talk about these types of things. They would talk about, there was a girl named Jessie Slaughter from like way back in the day. She was like this 13-year-old girl, this whole deal. You guys can look it up for yourselves. There was a band called Blood on the Dance Floor. This 13-year-old girl was basically trolled to death, not literally to death, but it's a very long history. And that's kind of how it started. I also watched a lot of drag queens on YouTube. I love just drag queens in general. I love the comedy of it, everything about it. And somehow in between all of that, I found these little drama communities on the side where they would talk, ish about TV shows or just like the bigger TV shows, the bigger like beauty influencers. And from those channels, I found littler and littler and littler channels that kind of surrounded that. Basically, that's how it started. And that was probably about 5 years ago now. And then I was not a chatter. I kind of looked around because I'm not that, even if I go into a stream now and I'm not familiar, I feel out the place first before I chat. Mm-hmm. So I kind of was just lurking for probably like a year or two before I even typed one sentence in a chat. And then those little, I don't know, you see people say like, oh, we're headed over to this place, we're headed over to that place. And somehow, some way, I ended up in all these weird drama communities. And they were just so intriguing to me because the fights seemed so dumb. The drama was so ridiculous that I couldn't believe that. At first, a lot of times I thought that it was either just basically for entertainment value, like they were kind of just playing it up, or I thought, I don't know, I really didn't know what to think. So then I was under a different name before Daria, and I went in a few chats. I kind of was like in there. I'm sure if I went back on some of these live streams that I remember being, and you could probably see like screenshots of like super chats and stuff like that, how they have it on like OBS where it comes on the screen. Mm-hmm. I'm sure I could probably find that if I really went back and looked. But that name had my real name in it. And it was a avatar that I used basically everywhere as far as social media went. And that name that I had on YouTube was a name I used basically on every social media account I had. And as I got more into like chatting and kind of like meeting people and, joining my first Discord and stuff like that, I started, going to more and more communities. And I started seeing what happens around these communities. And I noticed really, really quickly how by one picture or by a little tiny name, or you saying one day you went to like this specific place in your city, let's say it's just like a famous burger joint or something, and then they find your name. It's so easy to find somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started noticing that, and I was like, okay, absolutely not. So
Mm-hmm.
I basically left the few at the time I was only like a chatter in a few different places, and I completely educated myself. I read everything I could about protecting yourself online, what to
Mm-hmm.
do,
Mm-hmm.
this, that, and the other thing. So
Oh
then
yeah.
I didn't chat for a long time again, probably for like 6 months to a year, because I overhauled even personally, like all my social media. I realized how dangerous these things can be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I just saw so much really, really gross stuff. And the sad part is that the really gross stuff that I saw for the most part is with people that they thought that they trusted. Um,
Right.
it
Right.
To me, I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's the people that you thought were your really close friend, that you were in the community for a really long time. And we spent so much time together in discords and private chats. It's rarely the creep that kind of finds you randomly. So I was like, you know what? I overhauled everything in my personal life and everything, and I came back as Daria. I've always loved Daria, so that's just kind of how that happened. Kind of
Yeah.
just made the avatar how I wanted to, and that was about it.
Okay. Are
Um,
you a Gen Xer?
I'm 36, so I think I
Oh,
just
you're a
cut
millennial.
off.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think I'm a
But
little
you're
bit.
just a big fan of the show. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
huge, huge. I was watching
Yeah.
a lot of stuff
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been at that age.
Yeah. Same here. I know.
Yeah.
So what are some of the worst examples of things that you saw happening in some of these drama communities? The things that were being done to other people.
Honestly, it's the personal stuff that really got to me, where whether it was someone just releasing private messages about like their family, like mainly like their kids and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean, obviously like doxing and swatting is like really, or I'm sorry, welfare checks and swatting is a huge deal. Obviously that
Mm-hmm.
is a huge no-no, and that is terrifying. um I've seen that too, which is, like I said, terrifying. But the thing that got me the most was how trusting people are online and how
It's
open they
yeah.
are.
I know.
And
Yeah.
it really did scare me. I'm like, what if they like wanted to, what if I accidentally said something about my son, and and then one day they're on the live stream just calling me out and saying stuff about my son, or like, that scared me more than like literally anything, because you just don't mess with someone's kid. And
Absolutely.
I saw these people online like releasing messages and saying like we were best friends, and what about your baby dad? Just like, and I just thought, I could never, I can't put myself in that position. It would crush me. So I just that it's not, of course, the worst, but that's what got to my like heart the most, that
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
killed me inside, like seeing these people trust somebody that they thought they could trust, and then just being completely shattered by it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really what really made me sick to my stomach out of all of it, really.
Did you have any firsthand experiences with any of that? Any kind of doxing or
No,
threats or bullying or anything?
thankfully, I had enough, I guess, I don't want to say smart, maybe experience is the right word. I'm thankful enough that I got to see some gross shit right away. And that
Okay.
sounds bizarre, but I am thankful that I got to see some really nasty stuff in the beginning so that I could protect myself. And it was kind of sad because I know why people don't want to, because I'm like, man, like I got to know a lot of these people, and I just have to go away and act like I never existed. Because even if I came back as Daria, and I even told one person who I used to be, that one person has the ticket to, they could say like this was their old screen name, and just
Hmm.
by that old screen name they could find anything about me, because it, like I said, it was attached to all my social media at the time. Now I don't think anything would even come up, because I've done a really good job um overall online to get rid of like all my stuff. But man, I couldn't even tell one person. I'm like, man, I gotta like start, I have to come back like I don't know anybody.
Right.
So that was kind of hard because I met so many cool people.
Yeah.
So I know why people don't want to do that. But I just did that. I just, thankfully, I saw enough gross stuff to just, I don't know, just think, dude, it's either this or you don't chat. That's basically what I told myself.
Right.
I either do
Exactly.
this or I do not participate at all. I
Yeah.
do not chat at all, basically. So,
So what are some of the things, and I think, especially for those listeners who might be thinking about these things for themselves, how can I protect myself? What are some of the things that I can do? What are some of the things that you did specifically to wipe the slate clean and the search record of your names and that kind of stuff, photographs, all that kind of stuff. What
yeah,
are some of the things that you did to clean up your social media presence?
there was kind of a lot. I've always, like, yeah, when I see people like go through this stuff, I'm always like, I should make a damn PowerPoint. I'm like, I sound like such a boomer, but I'm going to make a damn PowerPoint. But what I did was I started off with obviously like the bullshit, like YouTube and like Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Um, I just deleted those accounts, and I was kind of over the social media anyways, like personally. It was just like a bunch of like my aunts and uncles and stuff acting like they care, but they really don't. You know, that kind of weird shit, on
Yeah,
social
yeah,
media where I'm like, you do not give a fuck about any of this. You don't care about my life. Just, we don't have to pretend here. So first I deleted all of that. And then of course my Facebook was always like my real name. That's just kind of how, I mean, I think I've had Facebook and stuff since like the beginning of time. It was like 2000 and fucking, I don't even know when Facebook opened. It's a long time.
yeah.
So
4 or 5, I think, or somewhere
dude,
around
yeah,
there.
it's
Yeah.
pretty long time. So my real name was on there. Um, I immediately changed that to be a different last name. Well, obviously, when you search it, it's still going to come up because, the internet has kind of a memory. So then I just kept it that way as like a different name. But then I also closed that Facebook account. And then I made a new one with still my real name, but just a different last name. I like a generic last name. Like, I don't know, just think of like an object, like I don't know, what's a like
Like a
star or
spoon, a
something. Yeah,
star.
like, yeah,
Okay.
like something like not fancy, but like some girly shit, like heart or something or whatever, something
Okay.
similar to
Yeah.
that. Um,
Lacy.
yeah, right. Yeah. Um, so that's what I did there. And then from there I started searching my real name like on Google and stuff. And there are websites where you can have your information taken off there. You just send a request. Because when I search my actual name online, I know how people can find out all the information about you. If they have your real name, they can find out damn near anything about you.
Hmm.
So, and then I also had to go into all like my tagged photos on Facebook and untag myself just in case somehow it popped up, because there are a few things that would still pop up here and there, because like if I search my name and went to like Google Images, like a few things would pop up.
Hmm.
So it did take a while for that to kind of filter out. I don't really know how to explain that correctly, um but yeah, I literally had to just wipe everything, my name, my phone number, everything from all these websites. I'm pretty sure some genius could obviously figure it out. If they
Hmm.
had my real name, I'm sure they could find something, but I'm
Yeah, if they're
pretty
motivated
sure,
enough. Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I did a fairly good job at doing so. Um, yeah, it was either do all that or just not chat, because I wasn't really,
Yeah.
it wasn't worth the risk to me. Like, either come back as a new person or just that. So that's basically where I started. And even how creepy I feel in a chat, if I even see someone still to this day, like someone with a first and last name that hasn't been, in a chat for a whole bunch of years, that already kind of knows the game. If I see
Hmm.
someone that I haven't seen that's like fairly new, I think, and they have their first and last name, I always tell them, I just type a chat. I'm like, this may sound creepy. You don't know who I am. Take my advice for what it is, but you should really change your name on here. And I don't care how creepy it makes me look in the moment. I tell them that immediately because I hate to watch it happen.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and a few people have thanked me for that advice and like asked me how to do it, blah, blah, blah. Um, but that's like the best that I can do to help anybody. And then, because people could even find just reverse images. So a lot of people use the same picture that they do on other social media sites.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
yeah. And it just, you can find so much information that way as well. Um, and that sucks to see too. But mainly when I see a first and last name, I say, hey, like, you don't know me, but this is the World Wide Web, And the internet does what the internet does. Change your name.
Yeah, change your name
Yeah.
pronto. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now you were talking about people able to look up your information, background checks. People. It's a pretty common thing. That was one of the things that kind of shocked me is how
Yeah.
common and how widespread just running background checks on people is. I mean,
No
what is
kidding,
some of your,
right?
it's shocking.
It
Yeah, and
is.
I kind of, I mean, if you're like dating somebody, that's one thing. You
Right.
kind of want to know what you're getting yourself into, but just some random person on the internet. Why are you pulling their
I
background information?
I
What
could
what are some of your thoughts on that?
I
Because
couldn't
just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Or
no.
yeah.
No, absolutely not. I don't get that. And that was the hardest thing for me to kind of realize, that it was like real type thing, because I'm like, nobody would actually ever take the time to look me up, even if, because at first I played around with the idea of not even changing my name, because I'm like, man, I met so much cool people, I don't want to come back as a stranger. So I'm like, what
Mm-hmm.
would they really find? Really, they wouldn't find anything. I'm the most boring person on this planet. But it took me a long time to actually like realize that people, yeah, they would look you up. They would do this. They would do that. They would find anybody in your family that has kind of a sketchy record or whatever the case may be. They'll exploit it, whatever, if you do something that they don't like on the internet. And it took me a long time to even grasp that someone would give that much of a shit, because people do. When I see a random chatter somewhere, I can't even, let's say I see a Joe Schmo in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
That's Joe Schmo to me. I don't care about what his real name is, what he does for work, how
Mm-hmm.
many kids. I don't give a fuck about any of that. And I can't imagine caring, but it's a very weird thing for people to want to know that much information about strangers.
About strangers. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then to leverage that information for their own purposes, to
Oh,
either
yeah.
mess with you or to, somehow undermine you and or threaten you. A lot of people do it just to scare you. I see that a lot out here. And people have
Mm-hmm.
done it to me. And it's just like, okay, fine. Good for you. You pulled my public records. You know something about me that
Yeah.
you didn't know 5 minutes ago.
Right.
Congratulations.
And that
So, yeah.
is so hard, because I've talked to people before and after the fact of being like doxxed, right? Because I've seen this a million times. The hardest thing, I know, and I'm waiting to be doxxed basically at this point, because I've been on
Mm-hmm.
here for so long now.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be somewhere out there that's somewhere, my voice, my laugh, the way I talk is not common around the people that I'm around. So
Mm-hmm.
someone some way is going to eventually find me or know who I am on here, and they'll just guess it and I'll be doxxed eventually. But anytime, so I know this is so much easier this is easier said than done no matter what, but even easier for me to say because it hasn't been done to me. But if you see your docs, do not freak out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
people do that, and I know why they do that. I cannot imagine, because like you said, they will do it just to scare you. They'll just drop, a troll will come in an account, and I've seen it a million times, just drop like one name, or drop a last name, or just drop like a street name, and it's just to scare that person.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how that's how a troll can kind of confirm what they found is real.
That's true too. Yeah,
And
it's kind of a form of social engineering in that way. Yeah.
exactly. So whenever somebody has told me that they've been doxxed, I tell them it's going to happen again, because they'll say, I locked down everything, my Facebook. And I have to tell those people, like, they already took everything off of there. So in a couple months from now, when you see something drop, like a picture that you have on your Facebook, even though it's locked down now, they save that. So in a couple months, they can drop it in there, boop, and scare you again.
Yep.
So you have to try not to pay attention to it and freak out. And like I said, easier said than done, but that's just what they do. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why I don't think of myself as a troll, but that's the way I do things, the way that I do them in my area. Like, I joke around in a different way, because I never wanted to be some vile, disgusting troll like that.
Yeah, exactly. One of those, malicious trolls that are
Dude,
out there
never.
trying to actually harm people or
No.
create a scenario where somebody else. I see that a lot out here. They're smart that way, that they try to get other people to do their dirty work for them,
Oh yeah.
so that they're not culpable if somebody showed up at your house, that kind of a thing. And I've seen it. I mean, I haven't seen it for a while, but back 10, 15 years ago, I witnessed a situation where an online beef turned into something real. And one guy showed up at another guy's house and just beat the shit out of that dude because he
Right.
was talking smack about his sister. So anyway,
Right.
it happens. I mean, it
No,
does
it
happen.
it
People
it
show
does
up at your
happen.
house and,
Mm-hmm.
I know people who've been trying to get other people to go and visit people that I know because they don't like some of the things that they've done or said online. And
Right.
but then they can say, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And
No,
it's such a
exactly.
bullshit game.
Exactly. And that's why I can't stand it's in my opinion, this is what I don't know what it's actually called, but in my opinion, that's what I kind of consider as like concern trolling, where you're acting so concerned because this other person is such a monster and it gets the whole crowd
Mm-hmm.
fired up. It
Yep.
gets them enraged, and then they don't have to be, because they're not directly telling that person to do something or directly it just it you're right, it's just skirting by the responsibility of actually being a
Mm-hmm.
piece of shit, which is why I think a lot of these people are so irresponsible with their platform. and
I
you
agree.
and you'll
Yeah.
never see me go for anybody's family. You won't see me call anybody names, their personal life, their kids, nothing. That's about the most that I'll say is like, this person is, XYZ is irresponsible with their platform, because even something as small as like throwing out, I don't know, just like, this person did this one time, you don't know who you can anger. And especially when these drama communities, let me tell you, little tiny information get a whole fucking crowd furious for no goddamn reason.
For no reason. Yep.
And it's
Exactly.
like, it's disheartening to see. I mean, I don't know, I don't like it. So that's why I started doing what I do. So like when for example, and like there's a person in the drama community, a different drama community, the I don't know what you'd even call it, because it's not drama, but it's like the old school drama community. There's a
Mm-hmm.
couple people in there. This one girl was getting trolled for living in like a trailer, and they're like, oh, you have this many kids. So I started going in her chat and I'm like, oh, you're rickety 1940s busted crusted trailer with your 37 kids and 10 animals. And she knew I was joking right away, and I was trying to make like a joke out of the ridiculous shit that people say, right?
Right.
And so that's what I do now. There's so many people around these communities. It's so many, I can't even tell you, that will tell you that's exactly what I do. I'll go in there and I'll say something extremely sarcastic like that, like, oh my God, I can't believe this person is scamming again, just joking around to try to make light of the ridiculous
Mm-hmm.
bullshit that gets spread around.
Yeah. Make a
Um,
mockery of the trolls and their trolling. Yeah.
exactly. So that's
Yeah.
why I kind of joke around the way I do with people. And the people that actually understand what I'm saying and joking around, I can make them laugh for just like a second, and kind of break up some sort of like really highly emotional thing. That kind of just makes me feel better about the situation in that small tiny moment, because I hate to see people legitimately fired up, legitimately upset, especially if it's over something that either didn't happen or something so dramatic it's not even part of the story anymore.
Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of trolls or a lot of people on here who troll under the guise of that they're trying to help or they're trying to do something good.
Yep.
But, the sort of champion of the people kind of troll
Yeah,
that
I
I
hate
see
it.
around here. It's all bullshit because those are the types of trolls who almost always do some of the worst stuff on here. And
Sometimes I feel that they're worse than vile,
they
vicious
are.
trolls.
Yeah.
Concern trolling, I have watched, especially in these drama communities. I mean, some of these people, because I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to get out
No,
this
no,
thought,
no.
because
Please go
otherwise I
ahead.
have a
Yeah.
brain of a goddamn goldfish. So I'm sorry.
No,
Um,
please go on.
um, I have seen so many concerned trolls because these drama communities are made up a lot of like women my age, or just like, just women in general a lot of times. And they're able to pull to the emotional side of it, especially when it comes to children. And these concerned trolls are acting like they're all concerned. And then they get these mob of just angry fucking women, and they don't realize what is actually happening. And that's what makes me so upset. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this person is concern trolling you and you don't even realize what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're being manipulated for this
Yeah,
person's own agenda.
exactly. And it's so disgusting to see. I wish that I could just scream that in some people's faces, but like I said, people just have to figure out things for themselves, and it's hard to watch because I've watched so much concern trolling go on in the last like 5 years or whatever it's been.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Yeah.
seen more of them cause so much havoc, just so much fucking chaos for no reason. It's unreal. Those are the ones that I find disgusting.
I do too. Yeah, they're because a lot of people buy into their BS that they think, oh, this person is actually he's on our side, or
Yeah, they're
and he's a good
concerned
person. Yeah, they're concerned. Yeah,
for the
exactly.
greater good.
Nope, it's a game. I mean, and
Yeah,
I don't really understand the mindset. It's like
me either.
why do you get off on this?
Dude,
But
me either.
I think it's a power trip. Like they feel like, look at what I've done. I've manipulated all these people, and I can, I can bend you to my will kind of a thing. And it's just like, big deal.
Right.
You,
I
you
will never
manipulated a bunch of
understand.
middle-aged women,
Yeah,
congratulations.
right. You're so cool.
Yeah.
That's a really cool thing to do. I know.
Yeah.
I'll never understand that because I don't even like even the tiniest of dog whistles. I do not like at all. I immediately am like, no, let's not do that. That's like kind of like a dog whistle. Let's not do that because I never want to be
Mm-hmm.
responsible for someone else's chaos that doesn't need to be there. And it
Mm-hmm.
just I will never understand that mindset whatsoever. Never, ever, ever.
A lot of
It's
doxing, a
disgusting.
lot of swatting, a lot of CPS calls have been done in the name of the right thing because a
Yeah,
concern troll manipulated a chat full of people
I
into
can't.
thinking that, something is true.
And it is fascinating to watch. So I can't even deny how fascinating it is to watch though, because there is never a time, and this is going to sound really fucked up. And I promise you, if I ever saw actual real abuse, obviously I would do something about this, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But on YouTube, okay, it's an entertainment platform. This is not a social media platform. At least in my opinion, as far as I know, it's not categorized as social media. Um, I'm pretty sure it is considered entertainment. And
I actually think you're correct. Yeah, I don't think it is considered the same as like Facebook or
yeah,
Instagram or
and
TikTok. Yeah.
I could watch a live stream of somebody doing XYZ, and in 10 minutes they could tell me that it was just them acting or them playing out something. Now, is that like realistic and could that really happen? No, but that is a possibility. Um, and I can't determine something as serious as calling such services on like children
Mm-hmm.
over YouTube. There's nothing in my mind that could even justify that. How am I supposed to know anything through a little tiny screen? I mean, that it's wild to me that people even think that they have the authority to do that because that doesn't hurt anybody but the kids. And it's
And
such a
the foster care
dude,
system in this country is infamous for being just
it
horrible.
is awful. Underworked, underpaid, or I'm sorry, overworked, underpaid. It is absolute shit.
Mm-hmm.
It is awful.
And then to
I
put those kids into that kind of an environment for nothing
dude,
is
and
it's
even
unconscionable.
man, questioning when you're in a situation where your kid has to even be questioned, because what they do is they'll go to the house or the school and they always have to do it like separately, and it instantly puts a kid in such a awkward, like they think that like if they say something it's wrong, like the kids don't know what the fuck is going on, and it's
Exactly. Yeah.
such a mind fuck for the child. It has nothing to do with the parents. You're just punishing the kid literally for no reason.
Yeah. And it sticks with them. And that's a
Yeah,
traumatic thing to have
it is
happen,
it is
to a young
extremely
kid.
traumatic. Yeah,
That's going to stick with them forever.
yeah, all because what their mom said something or someone made some signal to that this person was some sort of abusive parents. Like, I can't even, if I ever thought of that in my brain, I would really hope that someone like punched my teeth down my throat. I can't even
Right.
imagine that mindset.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. It just is.
Do you see a lot of naivety in these groups?
Yeah, tons.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
think I honestly, man, it really is. Like, in one breath I get so angry, like, you guys don't understand what you're doing. This isn't social media. This is entertainment. You guys are like, someone in a chat like one time, I'm sorry, not one time, like a couple weeks ago even was like, I don't trust you or something like that to me because you're everywhere. And I'm thinking in my brain, I don't want you to trust me. You shouldn't trust me. You don't know me.
Right.
I'm a
You don't know me.
stranger
Yeah,
to you.
exactly. Yep.
You
Yep.
have no idea who I am. Please keep that boundary up and actually do that for fucking everybody around here. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't, people are so trusting.
Too trusting. And I've done that
I,
myself. And
oh,
and I know it's hurt people and upset people, but I've told several people that, look, I'm not your friend. You have no idea who I am.
no,
You know,
right.
don't trust me. I appreciate, that you're putting that kind of faith and trust in me, but it's completely unwarranted.
Yeah, honestly. And even the people who I've talked to for like years on here with like in DMs and stuff like that, they've like offered me help sometimes, like just like what happened a couple weeks ago with my dog. Like instantly people were like, do you have like PayPal? I'm like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I did
I
the same thing. I offered
appreciate it.
too. Yeah. I offered too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I so appreciate that. And I feel like
And
honored
I
that you like
understand where you're
trust.
coming from. I understand why
Yeah.
you rejected that helping hand.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I could never even accept something like it would have to be like forced on me somehow, and I don't even know how that would even
Hmm.
be possible. But just
Yeah.
yeah, I just
Show up at your house and
you're
here's
right,
money, take
right,
it.
right.
Yeah.
Was it one of those big old checks or something?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Here you go, Daria. You've
Right.
won.
But it's like I'm honored that people trust me enough and they know that like when they talk to me, it doesn't go anywhere else besides
Hmm.
like our DM and stuff like that. And I know that I feel lucky that people do trust me in that way. But at the same time, I think of how many people that they're so willing to do that with and how
Hmm.
many horrible, this is the world wide motherfucking web. Okay.
Yep.
This is the
There's some guy
internet.
from there's some guy from, Uzbekistan or someplace,
Yeah.
just pretending to be a 45-year-old woman,
Yeah. You do.
I've seen it. I've seen it. It
I know.
happens.
I'm just like, I, and that scares the living shit out of me that so many people are so willing to trust. And that probably makes me, I've said this before, I probably do block myself from like maybe even tons of friendships and relationships that I could have with
Hmm.
people on here and stuff like that. Maybe I could
Hmm.
have like the best friendship in the whole entire world. Maybe I'm blocking myself from these opportunities, but I really just would rather protect myself in that instance because I just, it is, I'm happy to have this wall up, is what I'm saying. If I don't protect
Yeah.
myself, then I can't, I have to protect me first, I guess is what you could say. I've never even told one single person my real name because I
That's
know,
good.
so everybody has their one person, right? Like, let's
Hmm.
say I told you, well, like, let's say your one person was, Joe in this other community, and you told your one person, well, that one person will tell their one person. And it's just,
Yep. Yeah.
everybody
It's
has
like
their one person.
that old shampoo commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's, and it's one of the things that I keep a lot of distance out here as well, because there's been a few people that I've let in. Some I've regretted, some I haven't. But for
Right.
the most part, it's just like I'm highly selective. Kind of makes me look like a dick sometimes, but it's like,
No, don't worry
you know,
about that ever.
yeah, yeah,
I always
yeah,
say don't be afraid to be an asshole and I hate the, like, as far as like keeping your distance or whatever. I hate the I just want to make this, I'm sorry.
no,
The
no,
other point I just
please.
want to make really quick. A lot of people on here, when they start getting, I guess you could say, like too much into the shit, they
Hmm.
a lot of times I hear no one's gonna bully me off here, nobody's going to push me off of this platform, and nobody's, and I'm thinking like, to get yourself out of a position where you feel like it's too much, that does not make you like a punk. That doesn't make you a punk bitch. That makes you
Right,
taking care of yourself first. It doesn't mean anybody's pushing you off a platform. It doesn't mean that anybody is bullying you off a platform. Nobody's saying that you cannot be here. That doesn't make you a punk. That means you're saying, I'm putting myself first and you guys can all go fight elsewhere while I take care of
exactly,
myself.
exactly.
And I
Yeah,
just wish
that's
that more
very
people
true.
did that,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, take care of your mental health,
Yeah,
whatever it is. Just don't put that stuff on the line to
yeah.
save face on YouTube,
Exactly.
because it's not worth it.
It's
It's
not at all.
not worth it.
It's
Yeah.
not. I've never seen anybody really gain anything from not forcing themselves on here, but being persistent and or being like, I have to be here because they're not going to bully. I've never seen any good come from that, from
Mm-mm,
somebody
no.
just being persistent on making sure that people know that they ain't going nowhere. It's like,
Yep.
okay, so we all know that, but how much have you suffered in the process of doing that?
Right. What kind of a toll has it taken on your mental
Yeah.
health and your and physical health? I've seen people, it starts to affect their physical health as well.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so really, was it worth it for fucking YouTube?
Yeah. I
But to make a bunch of strangers think that you're, some kind of a badass. I
Yeah,
mean,
I hate to say it, but I've never seen a good outcome from that, or a healthy outcome, or a good outcome from that. It's like, so you told a bunch of strangers that you weren't going to go anywhere. Okay, cool.
congrats,
You've suffered for years to do so, I
exactly.
guess.
Here's your cookie and your gold star,
Yeah, and I
have
don't mean
fun
to be
with that.
offensive to anybody either when I say
No, no,
that,
I
but I
know.
just
Yeah,
I wish
I know
that
what
the
you mean.
narrative wasn't you're a punk bitch unless you stay on this horrible, shitty internet.
And I don't know, it's weird how it sort of has become this zero sum game
Yeah.
where it's, I either win, I win
Yep.
and you lose, or you win and I lose. And it's
Yeah.
like, how did that come about? It's
I
really,
don't know. I
yeah, it's
don't
like,
know.
I thought we were just out here, having fun and making some videos and,
Yeah, I
but
just want to come here and laugh, man.
yeah, when did they become so, hardcore and real and
I,
important for everybody?
and again, in my opinion, if I want to win, I'm gonna log off and even possibly delete my account. You guys can go fuck off into the ether and fight about me all for years if you want to. I'm never gonna see it again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's the funny
Like,
part
that
of
means
it.
I win, motherfuckers. You can talk about me for years, and I'm never like I said, I know this is so much easier said than done, but there was a personal time, like a personal thing in my life where it taught me such a great lesson that I'm so
Mhm.
thankful for. And it's like, I realized that no matter what I did, I couldn't change the outcome, no matter how much I tried to control it, how much I fought for it, how much I fought for the truth, how much I, was determined for everybody to see how right I was. It did nothing but destroy me for like 2 years straight. So
I've
it,
been there.
it
Yeah.
taught me such a good lesson though, and I'm really thankful for that lesson. So yeah.
Yeah,
Just,
fighting for the truth on here is,
it seems impossible.
yeah, because I have kind of given up on a lot of things because of that, because it's just like, well, there's no point, in me
Same.
talking about these things. But there's a part of me, that I get to a point where it's like, screw it. I'm just going to say the things I want to say and put the things out there I want to put out. And if people watch it, cool. If they don't, cool. And if people want to troll me for it, whatever, fine. I really just try not to be too, I don't know, just upset about it. It's why I kind of decided to do this podcast. It's like, yeah, screw it. I'm just going to do my thing. I'm going to do what I want to do. That's kind of the way I look at it. It's just not that big of a deal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just my opinions and the opinions of other people, and it's whatever. It's whatever. So,
And like I said, I don't want anybody to like take offense ever to anything I say. And I understand anytime I ever bring this up, people are like, it's so easy for you to say and blah, blah. I know it is easy for me to say because I don't have a channel that everybody knows about that can just come and, come and harass me on and stuff like that.
mhm,
But the
try to
thing
take you
that,
down. Yeah.
yeah, the thing that I went through in my personal life, it took practice not to look at things, and it took practice, and I had to tell people like, don't send me XYZ, and if you send
Hmm.
me XYZ, then you can just go fuck right off because I
Hmm.
don't ever want to talk to you again. And that took so much practice because it becomes obsessive when you want to see what people are saying about you. I've been in that mindset before where you're looking all the
Yeah.
time to what
You talking
people are
shit about
saying, what
me?
they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really does become so unnecessarily unhealthy.
Oh, it is. It's so unhealthy. Yeah. It's just that constant, the anxiety that comes from that, the worrying and,
Yeah.
then your imagination kind of, it fills in those blanks, when you're not seeing what they're saying about you and instead you're worrying about what they're saying about you. Your imagination
Yeah.
fills in those blanks
It
and it's, oh
it
my
become
God,
you become such a prisoner of your own mind. It
of your own
really is
mind.
like torture.
Yeah. And you're torturing yourself for no
You
good
really
reason.
are. Yeah.
And it's,
It took me
again, it's
so
like,
long.
what are you doing?
I think I want to estimate about like 6 months to finally, in my personal experience, to not look at things like every single day. And then eventually I did it
Mhm.
like every 2 days. And then, eventually I trained myself, and eventually I didn't give a fuck anymore to look at things.
Mhm.
But it took a lot of practice and a lot of, just trying to distract myself, basically.
Yeah,
Um,
finding something else to do. I mean, really, that is kind of the solution to all this is really simple. Turn off the computer
yeah,
and go find something else to do. That's it.
right,
Yeah,
right.
that's it.
It was, I think a lot of it was just ego, you know. I feel like I have like none
Yeah,
anymore
yeah.
because of what I went through. It was like some sort of like, I don't know, they call it ego death. I don't know what kind of hippie term they use these days, but I feel like I really did go through that.
Oh, they
Um,
still, yeah, they still say ego death.
oh, do
Yeah,
they?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a thing. Yeah.
It was a mind blowing, very valuable, very good lesson for me to learn. It sucked in the process, but I'm glad that I learned it. Because it was maddening. I was honestly just trolling myself.
Right. Exactly.
It was
Would you
bizarre.
say that you were addicted ever
Yeah.
to the internet?
Oh
Yeah.
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 100%. I will,
Yeah.
not to the internet in general, addicted to what these specific people were saying about me, because these specific people had a giant influence of my life, by let's just say my family life. And I had to know, in my, what I thought at the time, I had to know what they were saying, because I had to quote unquote protect myself, and I had to make sure that nothing was being lied about and misconstrued. And I when they said something, then I had to make sure to correct the record. And I did
Right.
that for about 2 years, and it
Okay.
did fuck all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the kind of the irony of it is all that energy and time spent and it yields
Yeah.
no results,
It
nothing positive
Nothing,
anyway.
nothing at
Yeah.
all. And those
Yeah.
people had to, and eventually what happened, basically did that all for no reason. There was no result, there was nothing. And eventually what happened was, is that I eventually stopped. And then those people did see, because I there was, when I was just going back and forth, I looked like insane. I looked like, and people,
Yeah,
even
I
my friends were
know.
telling me, like, you look like a fucking psycho. Why are you looking? Why are you looking? Why are you responding? Why are you responding? And
Yep.
eventually, what happened was they were right. I ended up just looking more insane than the other person. And once I finally stopped, quote unquote, trolling myself,
Mm-hmm.
essentially,
Mm-hmm.
there was room for people to actually see what that person was doing, instead of me getting all up in the mix of it, trying to prove something that could have just been proven by that person's actions, without me being determined to be right and show the truth and all this bullshit. Just big ego problem.
Would you say in a lot of your journeys around YouTube, would you say that there's a lot of addiction on here to this kind of
Tons,
stuff?
tons.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I see it often, where it's like you have to see what's being said about you everywhere all the time. And I understand the mindset of it. That's why I try to give as much grace as I can and not judge as much as possible,
Mm-hmm.
because I've been in that position before.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that mindset 100%. Um, it sucks to watch, because I know the outcome is nothing. There is no return. There is no satisfaction at the end of it. To be honest with you, most of the time when I was acting like a goddamn fool, I ended up feeling guilty about the way I acted, or was like, God damn it, why did I act so stupid? Why did I freak out so bad? Why did I escalate to that point? Why can't I just stop myself from? And it
Mm-hmm.
just came with so much bullshit. So when I watch it happen, I really want to just shake the person and say, this is going to just cause you so much more agony, hurt. It's going to give you nothing in return. As much as it feels good in this specific moment, in about an hour or so, even, you're going to feel totally different. But you just kind of have to let
Right.
people do their own thing. And that is the best that I can do, is just kind of be an ear. I mean, to watch people do it. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying I'm perfect. I've had many times where I've overstepped the line with some things, as far as like not being able to control my emotions or whatever. But I see it happen so much now. I feel like it happens daily. Like it seems
Mm-hmm.
rampant now.
It does. It really seems again, in your journeys, because you do have a pretty broad experience on here to, observe. Would you say it's gotten worse in the last few years? Like, especially since the pandemic. Do you think kind of the pandemic sort of, facilitated a lot of this activity and people are just because more and more people are
Yeah,
on here doing this kind of
a
stuff? Do you
hundred
think it's gotten worse?
100%, because especially during those moments, I saw a lot of because I'm in other like some parts people know about on YouTube, some people don't. I'm in like, I guess what you could say, like normal communities too on YouTube,
Right.
that aren't like these drama filled things. I just don't tell people because I don't want anybody going anywhere. I would never want to cause chaos anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I basically act as if I'm in someone's home. I act
Sure. Sure.
accordingly of where I am. Um, and I would never want to just cause ruckus. So, but specifically, when all that stuff happened, I remember being in my doctor's office and they closed my kid's school down, and I could not even believe what was happening. I truly couldn't believe it. I'm like, like when we were kids, like you didn't even get to stay home if it was, a million feet of snow. So to
Yep.
hear that,
Especially in the upper Midwest, yeah.
right.
So when did you find Karama? When did you find the Karama community?
I want to say like 2-ish years ago, maybe
Mm-hmm.
actually, you know what, probably even longer, because the DC, like the drama community, kind of collided with Krama when, specifically, I remember the Summer Wells case, that little girl that had went missing, and there was
Mm-hmm.
a couple people from the drama community that were reacting and doing commentary on some of the people that were covering the Summer Wells case, and that's kind of when things collided a little bit, and I started kind of venturing off into those communities as well.
Was that now the drama community? I'm trying to think. Is there like Starlight? Is there like a
Yeah,
some?
so
Is
in
she?
my
Was she? Yeah,
yeah, so
Diane something
yes,
and
yes.
okay,
There's a big turning point with the drama community, the one that I'm speaking of, and that was the whole Diane and St. Jude's thing. You
okay,
probably heard
okay.
about that at some
I
point.
I did because about 3 years ago there was I used to kind of Poon Handler. I don't know if you know. You probably know who Poon
Yeah, I
Handler.
absolutely do know who that is.
Okay, I used to kind of hang out. There was for a short period of time, them and RDA and Sam Hill and kind of that group, and then they collided with a lot of the DC. So that's my only really point of or frame of reference for those people. But I do remember the St. Jude's thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge thing. Because yeah, that was a giant thing, and that honestly, to be quite honest with you, that split up and kind of broke up the D. Okay, so there's the OG DC, right, and then there was kind of like the new. And it's not really the new DC, but then the OG, quote unquote OG DC, kind of was doing its own thing, and that's when I was only a watcher, and then I more commented towards like the St. Jude stuff, or like a year before the St. Jude stuff kind of happened. And then once that happened, everybody kind of split up and did their own thing. And that kind of broke a lot of people up because, that was a really, really big drama.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, yeah, that kind of started people that, honestly, that's kind of how I think people started scattering to other communities as well, because they were so used to being in this one little area. And I feel like once that happened with Diane's channel, people started going other places and kind of dipping their toes other places. Maybe I could be wrong
Mm-hmm.
about that, but that's kind of, there was a big shift when that happened for sure. I know that for sure.
Were you ever on Natasha Cooper's channel? Were you involved with that at all?
No. So I only I watched her for probably, I want to say like a year. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I would see this, in my opinion, I would see kind of the dishonest way she went about doing things,
Mm-hmm.
but I never agreed with like going after her channel, because in my opinion, that usually creates the opposite effect. Um, so I watched that for a really long time. And then I watched her get all of her channels taken down, then over and over again. But I was
Mm-hmm.
one that was never in her chats or in like up on her panels, none of that kind of stuff. Where a lot of people here were, and I find
Yeah,
that
it
fascinating as well.
seems yeah, because I'm not very well versed in a lot of the Karama, kind of where the relationships and the history and all that kind of stuff. But it seems like a lot of people came from Natasha Cooper, and then sort of there was like a big
Yeah,
a schism there,
yeah. In
and
this area, yes, like where like Amber and stuff, and Lycan and all those people, they didn't come from there. I'm not saying that, but that's kind of like the community that they were surrounding and a part of, where I was not. I came to, I think, Lycan's channel, yeah, from Save Robbie's, and I knew Save Robbie
okay,
because of the DC and
okay.
because of like Molly Golightly and stuff like that.
In relation to some of your the other drama communities that you've had experience with. How would you sort of compare Krama to them in terms of like just how nutty things are and just how intense some of the drama is? Is it kind of, more on the bad end, or, a little bit more on the lighter end?
Well, the original drama communities that I initially started, I guess you could say start with, is like the main ones I start chatting consistently in are like the local communities where
Okay.
people are just harassed endlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Where I see, there's a few specific, like, do you know who Shani for Christ is and Rev is? Shani and Rev.
I know Rev, yeah,
Yeah.
because Rev was on. And I made a cartoon about Rev,
Oh, did
actually
you?
back in the day, yeah, about 3 years
Yeah.
ago. But yeah, I know
So
Rev, yeah,
yeah, so Shani and Rev are two giant lolcows on the internet, and
yeah, yeah.
there's communities that surround them, and one of the communities that surround them um is so much fun. I wish I could like just shout them out, but I can't because I don't want to cause bullshit, but um they're a ton of fun. I feel like that is probably the best example for what actually a drama community should be, because they don't harass them as other people do with these like lolcows. They just have
Mm-hmm.
fun with it. They don't take it all personal.
Mm-hmm.
They don't respond to everything said about them. They just kind of laugh it off, um and in my opinion, that's kind of what it should be. And honestly, the Krama is like the worst, most, I would say, like hysterical, dramatic one of them
Okay,
all.
histrionic.
Yes, of them
Okay,
all. Definitely.
okay,
Virtue signaling everywhere, all the time.
everywhere. Why do you think that is?
I really wish I could say, because they, I wish they knew how much fun their community could be,
Mm-hmm.
because of the other communities that I'm in, one in particular specifically that I'm in, that just they don't take any of it personal. They do their little commentary. And honestly, the moment that I like one person that was doing commentary and stuff like that, one of the people that they were reviewing and stuff, he got doxxed, and he was kind of waiting for it because he is kind of like public, and he like goes on camera and stuff. And then once that happened, he just completely backed off. He didn't sit there fighting with them to the death for months and months and months and months, and I feel like that shows a level of, I don't want to say maturity, emotional maturity, when
Mm-hmm.
knowing when to disengage, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like everybody in Krama currently has no idea how to do that.
Right.
None
Yeah,
at
they
all.
just keep pushing forward. Yeah, they just keep doubling down and doubling down, and
Yeah, it's just one up, one up, one up, and they did it first. No, they did it first. They made me act this way. They are pushing my
right,
buttons. They're
right.
antagonizing me. They're
No
yeah,
self-control, no agency at all. Yeah, which
yeah,
is bizarre, but yeah.
and
And then on the other hand, they go around, patting themselves on the back about how strong and empowered
yeah,
they all are. It's like, wait, which is it?
yeah. No, that's exactly how I feel. I feel when I see someone disengaging and putting themselves first above, I don't know, the fucking internet, I feel like that is winning, and that is
Yeah.
taking the high road, and disengaging is the best thing that you can do. And that really, um, because I know from experience, like I said, in my personal life, when I was acting a fool on the internet when it came to personal stuff and I wasn't getting a response, I remember how it made me feel inside. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why aren't they responding to me? What the fuck are they doing? How come they're not, like, why aren't they responding? Are they not as mad as me? And then it really does make the other person kind of feel like, why aren't they responding? What are they doing? What are they up to? And I, people should do that more. Because that would drive me more crazy than people responding to me and fighting with me.
Exactly, because then your
Yes,
imagination takes over again.
it would drive me insane. No
Yeah,
response is such a good response. I wish
it
people
is.
knew that.
Yeah, and that's that it's like everybody's advice for trolls, and unfortunately, not enough people follow that advice. No contact, ice them out, just don't respond. I mean, that
Yeah,
is literally, it may take a little bit of time, but eventually they'll just go away because it's like, well, you're not getting the response
yeah,
that I wanted out of you, so fuck it,
exactly. And the
I'll move on to the next thing.
people are really, really impatient, and what I see most of the time, and like I said, I've done it myself. If you fuck off for a day, right, and they're still going, give them another day and give them another day. You know what I'm saying? It does not
Mm-hmm.
take one day. Sometimes it doesn't even take a month. Um, in my situation, I had to just sit back and shut up for about like 3 or 4 months before
Mm-hmm.
um I started not getting the results I wanted, but for people to actually see what was going on in my situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I just wasn't, clogging up everything with my histrionics on top of it. um,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's
You're
like
complicit in the drama
I
in
was,
that way.
yeah, I was just trolling myself and being complicit. I was complicit
Yeah.
in trolling my damn self, you know?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to call it trolling because it was like a traumatic thing that was going on, but it's like I was just complicit in bullying myself. I was just a participant in it. Um, and it did take a long time. Like I said, you have to be so patient. And I feel like people don't have patience at all. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
I left her alone for a whole day and then they said this. And it's like, no.
Yeah. Give it a week, at
Yeah,
least,
right.
minimum. Yeah.
Exactly. And that is really hard to do. And I understand that. And like I said,
Yeah.
everything I say here today obviously is from a complete unknowing position because I can say this all day, but until I have an actual platform with, tons of subscribers and a community, I'll never
Mm-hmm.
know. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to speak from my own experience and what I know to be true. Like with no response, trust me, is a better response than anything. It'll drive them crazy.
Yeah. And I think that's where the addiction factors in too, because people just, they can't let go. I mean, it's like they need that fix. They need that hit. I mean,
It's a dopamine ass pats.
yeah. They're
It
junkies. I mean, I made a
Yeah,
video about this last year. Just kind of, you know, putting people down for you're junkies. You're drama junkies. You're internet
yeah.
junkies. This
It
has become an addiction for you. And
it
and I'm speaking from experience. I mean, I definitely have felt an addiction to a lot of this kind of stuff where it's like
right.
it's hard. It's not an
Yeah.
easy thing to walk away from because it's like
No, it
you're
takes a
you're
lot of
always like,
practice.
yeah, it's like what are they saying? Who's doing that? What's going on here? And
Right.
you really do kind of it's easy to fall into that
Super.
trap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where it's like all of a sudden, oh wow, I just have spent 12 hours on the internet doing
Right.
nothing really, except, going from, live stream to live stream and, watching past, videos and reading community posts and,
Yeah.
interacting with people, it's just, yeah. So I,
It
I, I get it. It's, it's one of the reasons why I kind of moved and, kind of got back into nature and stuff. Cause I really wanted to just break that habit.
what you did was fantastic for yourself, honestly. That's the best
Yeah.
thing I could like suggest anybody to do really is like find a different hobby, I guess, or something to give you that like dopamine hit. I don't know where someone could really start with that or how to even practice it because I know it took me a long time to practice that.
Yeah.
And the other
Yeah.
thing was to give the other party nothing, like absolutely nothing. I couldn't even
Nothing. Yeah.
when you say ice out, I really did in my situation. I had to ice them. Even if someone came to me with something, I had to tell them like I don't want to hear about it or whatever. I couldn't even make an opinion, like an opinionated comment on it because if I gave that person any little tiny thing, they would take it and run with it. Do you know what I mean? I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
person literally like tried like getting me locked up for something. Like
Oh,
it
wow.
so
Okay.
yeah, and so I really did have to ice this person out because if I gave them one and they tried their hardest, like when I was getting a phone call about me supposedly stealing something from somewhere and that they supposedly had me on like this camera and they're telling a different party this and this party is coming to tell me that I did this other person is
Mm-hmm.
coming to tell I had to sit there and just take it and I'm like okay, if you believe what that person is saying, tell them to provide the proof and I'll be at home waiting for the cops to show up. I can't imagine if I wasn't practicing that whole time, I probably literally would have went to jail for no reason because I was just acting like an asshole because I would have been so upset that that person was just lying about me,
Mm-hmm.
because that wasn't easy. Trust me. I just when so and all they really wanted was just that reaction out of me. They just wanted me
Exactly.
to
That's
act
it.
like an
Yeah.
asshole to the person that
Yeah.
was telling me so that it could possibly fuck up. a whole bunch of other stuff that was going on. And so that person could just point and go, look, I told you she's crazy. Look at how she's acting about this. And it's like, why would she be acting like this if she didn't do it? And it just, I had to realize what that person was doing, what they wanted from me, what they were trying to accomplish. And it is hard to grasp that people really do try to do that sick ass shit too. But it does happen.
I've seen lately there's been a little bit of talk about suicide trolls. I've been kind of seeing that pop up lately in the trauma community, that a lot of these individuals are in some of the associated groups with trauma are engaging in suicide trolling. Hard to prove, number one, because until somebody actually does commit an unaliving of themselves, it's there is no proof that that's actually what the intent was behind this kind of stuff. But it does seem like that is the case, that a lot of people are trying to drive others to that point, or at least to the point of breaking. And
it certainly seems like it.
It does, yeah. What's some of your experience with that and what you're seeing, especially lately, the last couple months?
Anytime I've seen anybody get that much poking, I guess you could say, where they basically act like that person isn't even a human being anymore, I get really upset about that. Because there is a line, in my opinion, and I do believe it does become over the top. I don't know if I agree with the wording of the S troll, because that's such a... See, when people throw that out there, I kind of feel like that's one of those buzzwords that kind of get people to listen to what you're trying to say. But I don't know if that's really because it's what they're trying to create, right? Is they're going so hard at a person. It's like, what do you think the outcome? You can't possibly be going this hard at a person with all your little friends and expect them to just be okay. So what is your goal? What is your actual goal? And then you think, like, is that their goal, to push them that fucking far? Are you that sick of a person? But at the end of the day, I also believe that if you're an adult, you have to make the adult decision to get the help or log off. But it's such a... if I was part of a group of, like, let's just say 50 people going at one person so relentlessly, I couldn't live with myself. Even just, I don't even know how, like, even just saying, I don't know, let's just say that person's like mom's name or something. These people are like digging into their old Facebooks, bringing up their children, bringing up, what they've been doing the last decade, digging, and poking. I would hate myself. I seriously would hate myself. I don't. So I do wonder, what is your goal with this? What are you trying to do? I would love to know their answer to that. Because they cannot possibly tell me, like, this is for the greater good. Go fuck yourself. That's not the answer.
Exactly. We're fighting evil. I mean, I've actually seen people say that. I'm fighting evil. It's like, oh, really? Okay. Wow. You need to get out. I mean, if you think that this is evil, I mean, what you're doing, talk about a lack of self-awareness, what you're doing is evil.
What they're doing is, like, in my opinion, sometimes 50 times worse than the person that they're after.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen so many times, even in, like, the lolcow, like, community, where the reactor starts doing things that are worse than the lolcow because they get so wrapped up in it and they feel like they're doing something or somewhere for the greater good.
It gives people, I think that is part of it. It gives people a sense of purpose and meaning. It's like, I'm actually having some kind of an impact or effect on the world. And it's like, no, you're not. All you're doing is fucking with one individual's life. And it's, you haven't actually defeated any kind of evil. You haven't accomplished any kind of, great feat. All you have done is waste your time and energy screwing with another human being's life. And in some cases, pushing them completely over the edge.
Yeah.
But and some people actually do take glee, or they actually do, in some circles, it's like, look what I did. We were responsible for, this person's mental breakdown, or,
I've seen that
unaliving themselves. They take pride in it. It's bizarre.
I've seen that so much. And I just sit back and I'm like, you really are able to say that out loud. I just wonder how. Like, I've seen, like, especially women, I've seen women just be so much more ruthless than men.
Mhm.
Um, because I feel like women can just really, I don't know what it is, but they can really just tear you the fuck up. I don't know what it is, but women are
You're
vicious.
born, yeah, you're born good at psychological warfare. You're
It
just,
it's like,
it's
holy
just,
shit, have I seen
yeah,
women be vicious on here? And I watch it. Look at, I triggered the bitch, and like,
yeah, yeah.
so happy to trigger someone to the point of just being just like not broken, but just feel defeated and just be so happy about it. I don't get that. I'll never in my wildest dreams understand that at all. I could never. I don't care how horrible the person is. I would just
Right.
not watch them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I don't understand. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like, if you really, are this upset by this person, just don't watch them. I mean, especially
yeah,
on YouTube, you've got nothing but choices on YouTube, just
yeah. There's
move
about,
on.
I don't know how many million channels and people.
Yeah.
You could just not watch. And I've been in situations where I feel like I've been well, I've been in a certain situation where I was being harassed and abused and stalked, like legit, not stalked on social media, legitimately. And it's not, so I don't poke at that person. Or I should say, I did not poke at that person. If you feel that you don't poke and you don't, and these people just act like they're forced to watch these people that they hate. I don't understand that either. I don't watch people that I don't like. I don't even hate watch
I don't
anymore.
either. Yeah, I don't either. I just, who's got time for that, I mean,
Yeah, I
I found
used
so
to.
many, yeah, I did too. I've done it. I mean, well,
Yeah, and
the
sometimes I
guy that
can still hate watch here and there, but not to the extent that I
occasionally,
would.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't spend days and weeks. Yeah, it's so silly. So, why do you think this is? I mean, especially in Krama, I mean, it just feels like there's been this effort lately to just go after people for perceived crimes. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, really, what have some of these people done? Said some naughty things,
Right. Right.
maybe dropped a racist term here or there, a sexist term here or there, maybe said something that was, controversial or maybe a little inappropriate. But really, I mean, comparatively, what have they done? And here's the other thing, too. This is something that just, it drives me nuts. Is the way that accusations like, pedophile and, misogynist and whatnot get thrown around out here.
It
You know,
infuriates me.
it does. And a lot of it is to incite and to incite
Yeah,
people,
that's all it is. Yeah.
yeah, to do something, in some cases drastic. You never know. You never know when that, that unhinged person is going to show up in that group and they just are like, oh my God, I've got to do something, a pedophile,
Yeah.
well, we've got to, we got to stop this. But,
Actually,
yeah, go ahead.
there is an interesting, in a different community that I'm in, someone actually did spread around that this a specific person was a child P word, and
Mm-hmm.
that person recently was at like the club or whatever, and he got jumped. He cannot obviously say
Mm-hmm.
XYZ happened because of XYZ, but the order of events that it happened in made it pretty obvious as why it happened. And that
Mm-hmm.
person is now in court with that person's partner and stuff like that. And they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
settle, I guess, out of court because it's a very chaotic, dramatic, like it's just really messy because on the internet, it gets really messy, and freedom of speech and all this bullshit. But that
Right.
person isn't, if this person was actually a child P word, then that other person would be protected under their free speech because they would be able to say that without any, they would be telling the truth. They weren't lying about it. But because they just made it up and spread that rumor around like Twitter and stuff like that, and then
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
person just happened to get jumped at the club, um and now another person that oh, so the person saying it has also said it about another person, and this other person now is currently raising funds to take this person in court because for the last like 3 years, or I'm sorry, like 2 years or so, that person's lawyer had told him basically like, yeah, you have a case, but it's like basically this person that spreads this around they don't have anything or whatever, but it's gone to the point where they've spread these narratives around so much that now that someone has actually gotten hurt and someone actually does have like a lawyer and is in a case right now, this person decided to talk to their lawyer about the things that have been happening. And this person put it out again that this person was a
Oh, wow.
quote unquote, child P.
Wow.
So his lawyer said, yeah, you really need to, take this somewhere because, now another person has gotten hurt. And basically they kind of need it for their protection as well, because
Hmm.
this narrative has been spread around the internet so much now under this person's real name and stuff. It's kind of at the point where they have to do something about it, because this
Hmm.
person's a professional person as well.
Hmm.
um so they're currently they're raising funds right now currently for it. And they also didn't want to put their community through it, because he had said, I don't want to ask my community for donations for this, but you've been watching this go on for X amount of years. And this person does not engage like really at all with the other person. He's done the right thing by completely disengaging for the most part. And it's still going on. And that's what made the lawyer say, like, you don't engage with this. You don't go back and forth online and do all the horse shit back and forth. And
Hmm.
this person is still spreading this about you. It's kind of at that point. Um, I wish I could say these creators' names. I can tell you privately. But yeah, these things do happen when you
Hmm.
spread this awful shit about people. There are consequences to that, and it could
Hmm.
be horrible consequences for the person that you're accusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The person that got jumped, he ended up with, I think, like 4 broken ribs. He ended up in the hospital because he got
Yeah.
jumped. And this person has put out this person's location a million times, the clubs that they go at and all this other stuff. So it, you can't convince me that this person got jumped out of nowhere at this
Right.
point, because
Right.
that narrative has been spread so much that you cannot convince me that he just randomly got jumped at a club that he goes to almost every single weekend now. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it gets really, the best advice I can give to people that are dealing with something as serious as that, as absolutely disengage immediately
Hmm.
and contact a lawyer and just at least have it on record. Because before, the person that got jumped, he was just going to the police station making reports of it every time, even though it's a civil thing. As long as the cops just told him, as long as you have like the reports, I guess, like, on file. So if you do ever go to a lawyer about this civil thing, you at least have that on record that these things have been happening and it is a document of it. Even though it's a civil thing, there at least is a document of it that's not, look at this screenshot from 2 years ago type thing.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So that was really helpful that he went to the police station every single time something had kind of been over the line, that he made a report of it. And then,
Hmm.
yeah, and it blows my mind because I wish people would kind of venture out of this little bubble, because they would see how much stuff happens online
Hmm.
um, that is not, it's not playing games no more. You can't just throw out people are that. You,
It's real life. I mean, it's what they
yeah,
call going
you
real
can,
life. Yeah.
then
And it
there,
happens often.
you could get someone fucking killed for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Or hurt at least,
yeah,
or pushed to the point of,
yeah,
something extreme. Yeah.
dude, the person that had got jumped. I watched him on stream so many times, just like breaking down because he knows that he was not this person. And
Hmm.
how could someone say such horrible things about them that you start to kind of go crazy in your mind? Like, why
You
would
do.
they say this crazy shit about me? Um,
Exactly. Well, and
yeah,
that kind of leads me to my question here. That was because I've seen this as well. I've seen, and I've participated in some not good things and against a certain individual that we all know about, a certain coach. I was a part of some of that. Phone calls got made, Craigslist ads were taken out, flyers were put up. I think this guy is got it. And we were talking about it before we hopped on here. I think there is some kind of personality disorder going on there. That's the only way I can explain some of his behavior. It doesn't justify any of this. So I have seen a lot of trolling, people making, really raunchy videos, of other people, doing really weird sexual kind of stuff. And the accusations, you're a pedo, you're a this and you're a that. I'm left wondering, even after all these years of observing it and even kind of participating in it to a little bit, what's the motive? What do people get out of this?
I
Is
can't
it
imagine.
entertainment? Yeah.
I I really do. Those words create such a emotional response from people that I feel like people just know that's gonna hit it home, that's a home run. If you really just despise someone so much, you just know that there are certain words in this world that give you the ticket, that give you the home run, that give you the basically, that you can have these specific things that you can create like a hate mob just by saying a few things and creating a
Mm-hmm.
few little, kind of mixing up certain situations a little bit here and there and just kind of make it so. And you say it enough and people believe it, and you kind of have your own little war that you can basically
Mm-hmm.
win with just a little bit of a, if you show that you have enough emotion towards something and you're loud enough, and people will believe you. I've found out, even if you're completely wrong.
Yeah,
um
it's kind of amazing. Yeah. People will, it just, a little bit of emotion and a few kind of vague facts. And yeah, people, oh, yeah, let's get this guy. I wonder, though, is this a form of mental illness on these people's part? I mean, is like, I wonder if troll and trolling will will make it into the next, version of the diagnostic, what is it, the DSM, whatever that stands for, I forget. I wonder if at some point this will become a diagnosable mental illness, to do
it
this.
it's I I really wish that the people who do go so hard for people that they just, I don't know, don't like, that they're, so offended by, I guess, a few things that they've said, if they could just use that energy where it's needed in, like, I don't know, real
Mm-hmm.
world problems that are
Yeah.
actually things going on,
Exactly.
that would
I
be
mean, that's
fantastic.
always been, it would be. And that's always my comeback to these people. Why don't you log off and go after real pedophiles, or go become a political activist, or, take up a cause, go join the Foreign Legion or something, whatever it is, you know,
Something.
something other than this, to harass people under this
Under the
bullshit
disguise of
guise.
caring. Yeah.
I'm carrying a concern trolling. I'm fighting evil on the internet, one channel at a time.
Yeah.
Sure you are. Sure
No,
you are.
exactly. Because even the thought of somebody thinking that they're like fighting for some quote unquote greater good in this world on the internet is such a weird, bizarre thing to me to begin with. Because, like, trying
It's
to hold
delusion.
people, yeah, just trying to think that you can actually hold another person like accountable or give them your consequence, like what you think their consequences should be, I guess you could say. How you can even think towards one. This is like, this is the world wide web. This will always be an absolute shit show
Mm-hmm.
cesspool.
Yeah.
You are not going to do it. You're not going to save anybody by someone saying a couple of words, because let me tell you, there are some horrible people online. Okay. uh and they could be your best friend and you wouldn't even know, and you're too busy going after someone who said, called a woman a bitch one time. I mean, you
Right.
gotta be fucking kidding me.
You gotta be kidding me. I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine. I mean, I mean, really? I don't get it. It just, I try so hard to sort of wrap my brain around it, but I just can't, because
i
it,
i
it makes no sense. It
i,
makes no sense.
I know it. I watch it sometimes, what people think other people's like consequences should be, and how they should be held accountable, and what they should be doing on this platform, and what other people should be, I don't know, I guess what the standard should be. And I just feel like, where do you even get off?
Right, exactly.
I couldn't
Especially
imagine.
on such a huge platform
Dude, this is
where,
a giant
yeah,
platform.
I mean, just, all you have to do is not watch. Just don't watch.
That's all you have to do. That's
Yeah,
literally it. If you know that you're innocent of something, that will, nine times out of ten, I mean 99% of the time, that's all you, I mean, it I could never imagine like scolding another adult. Like, I could never come to you, MJ, and
I
be
know
like,
it. And policing
how
them
dare you say
constantly.
that? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I know.
If I ever am on here, I mean, I have done it before where I'm like, that's absolutely not okay or whatever. It takes a lot to get me. And trust me, words don't really get, like, I watch people like, I can't believe so and so wished this about my kid. It's a fucking wish. Just get
Right,
over it and move on. Like,
right.
I
And to
What?
treat it like it's a real threat is,
Yeah.
and that's sort of the irony of it,
Yeah.
to get so obsessed about, a perceived threat, and then to get to the point where you're now threatening that person,
Yeah.
who had
Yeah.
this perceived threat. It's like, wait a second here, can we all take a step back and look at what you're doing here? I
Yeah.
mean, can you not see, the hypocrisy? And
It is really hard to just kind of let people just I like I said, I could never come to MJ and be like, I can't believe you said this word and how dare you, and I can't believe you did this on your own platform in your own adult space in your own adult head. I can't imagine scolding another adult for doing something, especially publicly. Those aren't my consequences to begin with. I mean, you're gonna have to deal with that no
right.
matter what I do or say. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
And I just, if words are the thing that really gets you, I stay in your own little bubble because you don't want to go anywhere else but here then, because the rest of the internet
Exactly.
is absolutely disgusting.
It's disgusting. It's so true. I mean,
I've been in some
yeah,
horrible places online.
me too. Yeah, me too. I mean,
I've seen some
the
sick
things
ass shit.
I've seen some horrible, yeah, same here, man. Rapes and murders and people being cut open. I mean, just, yeah, I've seen it all
It's
because,
like,
it's warped me, and
yeah, no, I
but,
know it. I right. And
yeah,
like I always say, like I don't mean to say things and like, someone else's like pain or like suffering or what they're going through is like somehow not important because other bad stuff happens, because I never want to like put like that idea out there. But it does, like, just when I tell you that the internet is so disgusting and such a horrible place, that if someone calls someone a bitch and that really is what you're mad about, just be thankful that's all you're upset with. Because
exactly,
if you knew what
exactly.
happened online in general, you would be actually like I feel like if these people knew what happened online, they'd be horrified. The
Yeah,
people that actually are
yeah.
getting upset, not like the concern trolls, but the ones that are actually getting so emotionally worked up over shit that is like not that important. If you knew what was, I feel like if they knew what was going online, really, truly, they would
Yeah.
be absolutely horrified.
I
And
would be horrified. It would change their whole perspective.
I feel like it would.
Because
I
it
mean,
changed my perspective.
yeah, yeah. When you know what happens, especially to children online
Mm-hmm.
nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
is such a eye-opening, disgusting. It really, it, sorry, when I know that's going on, I could give a fuck about what a grown ass adult at their big
Exactly.
ass age is doing on here. I'm sorry.
It's the
I
same.
mean, we're talking
Yeah.
about,
Oh no,
ugh,
somebody hurt your feelings. They called you,
yeah,
whatever,
right,
or
boo
somebody,
hoo.
somebody used a word that you find offensive.
Yeah,
Okay. You
go,
know?
yeah, go. Sorry, but just a little, Mary had a little lamb, just got kidnapped because some dude was grooming her for the last year online because her parents don't give a fuck, and she's in a, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't
Mm-hmm.
even know the half of what happens to children on here. Like, I feel
Yep.
like people
Yep.
just do not know, and it's
Yeah.
so fucking sad. And I
And
wish people would just do a little Google search.
a little
That's
research. Yeah, just a little bit of research. Yeah, spend an evening, grab a glass of wine,
yeah.
sit down for 3 or 4 hours and do your research and see just how horrendous it really is in this
Anybody
world.
with a child should see what goes on immediately.
Oh, I would never let my kid
Dude,
on the internet, man. No way.
dude, it
No
is
way.
absolutely terrifying.
And I've watched, some things that happened to my nephew, about 20 years ago. I mean, it was just like, it wasn't too bad. He just kind of got taken for a ride by some people,
Right.
but it was, it's like, dude, hopefully lesson learned in this one, because it does happen. There are so many people out there who just, for whatever reason, what they get off on just messing with other people. They enjoy
Right.
screwing with other people's lives. And I've seen it on here. I know these people. I know some of these people, and they try to act like they're the most, saintly do-gooders in the world. And it's like, dude, I know you. I've seen this shit that you've said and done. You're a piece of shit, But
Right.
people,
Right.
they can put up that front, and because people don't do their research and don't, look into these things themselves, they take people at their word. And often because it's directed, well, we're against this person over here. And so this person is against them too. So they must be a good guy, or a good gal, and they're helping us in the cause. And so it's just like, no, that you don't understand.
Right. Exactly. That's how I feel. As many times as I've watched someone get on their platform so confidently, just spewing out random, either misinformation or just absolute false stuff. And because they just sound passionate enough and they're just a little bit like angry and loud enough, it just can convince so many people. I find it so upsetting.
It's really disappointing.
I'm
it
like,
really
wow,
is.
wow.
It's like, really, you're that gullible? You are. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, I can't believe I'm watching this. It really is fascinating to watch. I'm like, wow, how did this just happen? Where I just find that in general, like we all are at the digital age where we can literally find out any single thing we want to by the thing in our pocket that we're literally on YouTube with right now, and nobody uses it.
And nobody uses it.
No.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, not to do any kind of research. They
Nope.
just, it's bizarre.
Just believe another adult that just sounds a little bit angry enough, a little emotional enough, a little bit passionate enough, and that's all you need, I guess. And
that's all I need, man.
So horrible and disheartening.
Same. I really do too. And that you've kind of, because you're kind of you're a journeying woman on here, and you make the rounds quite often. And I know within the trauma community, there are several camps within the trauma community, rather, that have, and I don't know if I want to say rejected you, but certainly you've earned a reputation for yourself, and they sort of, censor you, at the least, try to silence you. Why is that? What are you doing and saying in these communities and in these live streams and chats that is so offensive to them that they feel like they have to silence you?
That's an interesting question because I don't know the answer to that. The only things that I have really said about a few creators, I can even say some on my side sometimes, are irresponsible with their platform. And that's about it. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen community posts or like even just like the live chats where I agree with so many points that other people make. But they wouldn't even I guess be willing to hear that I even agree with them, because I sometimes go hang out at a different channel. I mean, honestly,
sometimes that's all it takes. It's like, oh, I don't like that person, and I saw you there. Yeah. Honestly, you better not come over here ever again.
There's so many times where I've been in a chat where they're like, there's a lot of channels that I do like to go to, and what I'll do is I'll just go and I'll just say hi, I'm listening, and like give a heart or whatever, and then I'll just leave. And that's because I still enjoy their channel, but the people in that chat immediately go, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? This person is in so-and-so's chat. You shouldn't allow these types of people in here. And it just creates like nonsense that shouldn't even be happening. There's a few accounts that go out that, I don't want to say go at me because they don't, but there's a few accounts that, particularly mention me or say things about me, or that, what does so-and-so think about this or whatever. And a lot of times I actually agree with them, but they don't actually want any of my answers to any of their questions. They just want to berate me into believing what they do if it's something I disagree with. And it just, I won't go into someone else's chat and do that. I won't fight in someone else's chat just because I feel like I'm right about something. I won't do that to the creator. But I cannot, I remember being in one chat and someone just typed something as simple as, hey, I think Daria stuck up for us a few times, actually. And the chat was like, absolutely not. She's one of the most vile ones out here. And I'm like, what? I don't talk about people's family or their like I don't talk about, I literally will say about I feel like they're irresponsible with their platform, or how vicious they may have been in a certain instance, or how ridiculous I think they might have been acting. But that's about it. I've never ever, I don't even think I've called someone like a name. I've made fun of the way
you've offered fair criticism, really.
I've made fun of the way someone talks sometimes because they say really funny things. Because I think it's hilarious. And to be honest with you, one of the only reasons why I thought that was kind of like fair is because I've seen that person laugh about it themselves. So if I
Yeah, yeah,
if I watched that person, right? Like let's say I think what she says is like funny and the way she mispronounces things was funny, right? But that person, let's say, was on her live stream saying that I don't know, I guess maybe that it would like hurt her feelings or something, that it was like talked about. I would have never even, I don't know, I guess I would have never even thought of going, I guess, at that, right? Because but
hmm
I've seen them laugh about it themselves, so I kind of felt like it was fair to kind of like poke fun at it too,
sure,
because I think it's funny.
yeah.
um but if I could
I
never
mean, if they're
just,
gonna dish it out, you got to
yeah,
be
I
able to
could
take
never
it.
really
Yeah.
honestly hurt anybody. And
hmm
it's just crazy. I agree with so many people sometimes, and I'm just like, if you guys only knew, like, I agree with this, I agree with that,
Right.
I don't just, but they just see me, and it's honestly, it's because I've
It's a
been
knee jerk reaction.
in one or two yeah, they instantly are like, she's vile, she's disgusting, she's a vile troll,
hmm
she's vicious. I keep on saying, then there's a specific one that likes to clip, clap, and giggle people.
hmm
I've asked her a million times to just cancel me already. Put it all out there.
Right.
You know,
Right.
put a video together, all the vile stuff I've done, and just cancel me already. And the
hmm
point, they can't do that because that doesn't happen. It's like, I don't. It honestly is because they see you certain places. So I try to be really fair with
Yeah.
other people about
Yeah.
that.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Same
like,
here. I think a lot of subs feel that way. I think that, I've heard several people in the past kind of raise that as an issue, that I just want to go where I want to go. I mean, I'm just a sub,
yeah,
maybe a member, maybe I'm paying
yeah,
membership fees. And in that case, I would say there's even more cause, for that person to go wherever they want, because they're paying for exclusive access in some cases. So I'll spend my money where I want to spend it. Anyway, my question is, because a lot of people are afraid. They may like a creator that, most of the people that they know hate. And so they're afraid to chat. Is there any kind of a solution to this? Is there any way around this
yeah.
other
In
than
my
just that individual just saying, fuck it, I'm going to do what I want to do. And,
in
to hell with it.
in my opinion, there is, but I feel like for a lot of people, it's too probably far past that point because they have. I so how do I say this? There's like a certain type of sub, I guess you could say, where they get really really close to a creator and they get really like personal, and they feel emotionally connected. It's the whole parasocial relationship type thing, right? Where
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you kind of feel like you're a part of them and you're going through what they're going through type thing.
Mm-hmm.
um I feel like once you get to that point, then no, there really isn't a way to do that. The way I, in my opinion, feel like there is a way to do that is not get to that point to begin with, because I know I've been in I've been in someone's chat before, actually, that had told me that I don't know what I did that specific day, but I remember being in the chat and they said, um, I've started to notice what you do on this platform, and like who you are or whatever. And they had said it to me in a way that made me feel like I was doing something wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I still go to this person's panel today, but they said it in a way as if I was doing something wrong or whatever. And I'm just like, all right. And they're like, and they had said, just know, I know what you're up to, but I'm just not going to say it. So you can, to kind of make you think about it or whatever, to me. And
Wow.
to be honest with you, I completely ignored it. And a couple of days later, I went back into their live stream as if nothing ever happened.
Nice. Okay.
Because I didn't take it personally, because I know I didn't do
Yeah.
anything wrong. But in that specific moment, it did make me think like, what the hell did I do? I don't even remember doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
But people really do think that they're hurting these creators' feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've watched it a million times where they go, the creator, by the way, does not say you cannot go X. I'm okay. Some do. So I have seen some people do that, but most creators do not say you cannot go XYZ, or if I see you XYZ, you cannot be here or whatever. It is
Mm-hmm.
not said like that. It is said in so many different ways.
Oh yeah. Very
So
passive
manipulative.
aggressively. Very manipulative.
It's
Yeah.
so passive, so passive aggressive. And once a sub feels like you really are making that creator like side eye you, or like, oh my God, like, did I hurt their feelings or did I do something wrong? And you get put in that position of where you actually really do think that you're hurting that person. That's where, in my opinion, you're already fucked up. Because then, in my opinion, I don't believe that really hurts a creator's feelings. It might in certain instances where you do get really close with them, but it 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 just, the main thing is, do not get emotionally involved with
Mm-hmm.
creators.
Mm-hmm.
I guess would be the overall.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
put
I'm
up a
over
wall.
explaining myself. It's just I've seen so
No,
many
no.
instances of this happening where I'm like, where these creators are like able to like make these subs feel as if they're like with them in some sort of cause, and they're like,
Yeah,
what's their pain
exactly.
is their pain, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Exactly. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, and that is, it's very unique about, and it's the draw. I mean, the interactive nature of
yeah,
all of this is what draws people to this, because it's,
right.
it's sort of television, it's interactive television in
Yeah,
a
we're
lot of
just, yeah,
ways. And
interactive reality TV, and
it is, but a lot of people have learned how to manipulate a
yeah,
lot of this kind of stuff for,
it's so sad to watch.
yeah, I mean, I $20,000,
Oh my gosh,
whatever it, it's just, I've seen it, it's just, it happened. And
I know it.
recently there was kind of a kerfuffle about some donations, and I wasn't a part of it, and I didn't really pay much attention to it, but there were some falling out because of it with people that I didn't even know it was happening until, it sort of got brought up. There's like, oh, really? Oh, that's okay. Anyway, but it's, it's a thing, and it happens, and people just, I don't know, man. Is it a lot of it just a question of just getting tougher skin out here, just being,
Yeah,
more.
because once you feel like you're like actually personally emotionally involved with someone, and that they can make you feel like as if you're being, I don't know, somehow being disloyal, and you've actually hurt their feelings, then that gives them also the power to call you out. And then once they have the power to call you out in such a public way, then they have basically the power to humiliate you and berate you. And then they
Mm-hmm.
have the power to kind of get a whole chat to do it. And that's why a lot of people don't speak up. I'm friends with, no, I don't want to say friends because maybe that's probably not the right. I talk to so many different people, like in DMs and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
from different communities, and even in this little bubble. And you wouldn't know it because I don't go spreading it around. I like who I like or whatever, and they've
Mm-hmm.
grown to like me or whatever. And just like trust, that our DMs don't go anywhere and stuff like that, and they're private. But the main thing is people just want to go hang out with their friends in a chat. That's it. They don't even want to make a stand in any way because they just want to hang out with their homies, in a chat. They don't want to be called out by a creator and have the spotlight shine on them because they were seen somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So they will stay quiet and to protect themselves. And to be honest, I can't be mad at that. Because why put a target on your back if you don't necessarily have to? But it's gotten to the point in these communities where, I mean, these creators can run shit.
Oh, it's crazy.
They can.
Yeah.
I look at it and I'm like, wow, it's just such a fascinating thing. I can't deny that. Like, especially with the creator that, had raised $20,000, watching her able to come back time and time again, able to get her sub count up, and watch all those people fight to the death for her, donate on top of donate. I cannot deny that, number one, she is smart as hell. Number two, she is smart enough also emotionally not to get too wrapped up with her subs. She makes them feel like she is just involved enough to make the subs feel like that she actually gives a shit, but in the grand scheme of things, she doesn't.
It's an act. Yeah. It's all an act.
It is fascinating to watch her do it over and over. It's disgusting, but it's also fascinating. I can't deny that. And there's another person that I feel
it's like, how do they get away with it?
It's like, how do you hold so much power
over these people? I know. A lot of it is I kind of go back to the whole naivete, and the gullibleness. Because these are, I mean, I'm not trying to be an arrogant jerk. It's just observation. A lot of these people come from very broken backgrounds, uneducated backgrounds, very dysfunctional. There's a lot of alcoholism. There's just a lot of poverty. There's just a lot of that going on with these people. And so they just, They really are just they're easy targets. A lot of them, not all of them. A lot of
No,
them are just
I
easy targets.
agree with you 100%. The easiest target that I have found so far online when it comes to these really close communities is either the a person who's retired, or I think one that trumps that is a person who is a who has lost their spouse in some way.
I see a lot of
That's
that.
also
Yeah.
retired on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very specific, I know it's a really specific example, and it probably isn't even what I'm saying. I'm probably completely wrong about that, but those are the two that I've seen. It's usually older ish women, and maybe boredom, maybe wanting to feel needed, maybe
Yeah, sense of need. Yeah, and
something
purpose, I
like
think, is
that.
part of
Yeah,
it too. Yeah, I think
like
that's part. Yeah,
wanting to feel.
I could see
Yeah.
my mom getting involved.
No.
She's the kind of woman who would just, and she would immediately open. Oh, you need $1,000? Oh, here you go, sweetie. And just without thinking twice. I mean, it's
Right.
like, Mom, what are you doing? Anyway. Yeah,
I've said that
yeah,
before. I've
yeah.
said to the people, I've tried to use logic in other chats about the one creator that we were just talking about, and I've tried to use logic. Like, can you imagine your mom being in like the same chat every day and just paying for like makeup and like stuff that is not worth this price, and that's really a
Yeah,
different price? Like, imagine your own mother. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I don't even think people can really even get to that point of thinking sometimes because they're so wrapped up in it. But I
Mm-hmm.
always think about exactly like my own mom or my grandma or whatever, or I shouldn't say my own because I don't really like speak and stuff like that to them, but like often, but like someone that I feel is like a mother figure being in a chat room like that and just being like, okay, like, oh, you need help? Like, oh my God, it makes me so upset. I can't imagine. I can't. I just can't.
I can't either. But
The
there's
other, I
nothing you can
guess,
do about it.
yeah, that's where you just have to let adults be adults. And that's why I'm like,
Exactly. Yeah.
when all those channels come together to like I said, fight for, that's another thing where they, we need to get her off this platform and she's doing this and that. It only brought more attention to that person. It gave her the victim
Mm-hmm.
status. They're trying to take me down and take away my
Mm-hmm.
income. It just gave that
Yep.
person more and more and more victim points. And that person has not gone away, and they never will. They
They
did the
never
complete
will.
opposite.
Exactly. Yep. And but and then that's kind of, another irony is, the people trying to take her down, or, other people, they never learn. It's like, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I think they just enjoy the process. They just enjoy, because what else are they going to do? It's like they're sort of stuck in that rut, of just,
Right.
well, I guess we'll just keep doing this, with the same person over and over again,
Right.
And then if,
Yeah.
a few people kind of figure it out and, drop off and fall away, and, but then new idiots come in and fill their spots. And
Right. No, right.
it's a
Exactly.
never ending cycle. It's just,
Right.
yeah.
Yep. That is what happens.
So, there was one thing kind of from the beginning I wanted to get into, because it's something that, I have had experience with extensively, and it's a big part of, it's the behind the scenes. It's a lot of the, behind the scenes stuff that goes on, because a lot of stuff goes down, not in the public eye, DMs and, people on phone calls. I mean, just a whole lot of stuff. And that's Discord. And you said you were involved in Discord, and I'm never going back to Discord. I finally just got away from it, and I'm not going to go back, but I know a lot of shit has gone down in people's Discords. You can stream in Discord, and you can have voice chats. Yeah, you get 15, 20 people on a voice chat, just talking about stuff. And so, I know a lot of things get planned, because it does happen. People do plan out certain things that are going to happen. And so, what has been your experience with Discord and some of the fuckery that has gone on? Because I've been involved. I mean, there was one kind of infamous, I some things that I have done in Discord that, led to, there was this one dude, I'll just kind of drop this, anecdote and then leave it to you. But there was this guy, I said some things in the Discord knowing that it was going to be screenshotted and taken out to somebody else. And it did. And then that person, it was this guy called Rogue Internet Man or something like that. I think he got kicked off the platform or something. Anyway, I don't know if he's still around, but at the time, he was kind of trying to go after Jamie. And so I said I said some really just I was being funny and the moral outrage, he's one of these guys. He's such a concern troll, rogue internet man. The moral outrage at this thing that was said. But of course, who got blamed for it? Jamie. Yeah, and I remember sitting on a live stream
okay.
going, no, dude, that was me. I said those things. I said it to him like 5 times. He completely ignored me because to him, I didn't have a channel. I was just a dude who just went
Yep.
wherever and fucked around and
Right.
did my thing. And but Jamie at the time, was kind of a target. And so, he just completely ignored me, even though I kept saying it over and over and over again. Dude, I'm the one who said those things.
Isn't it funny
So he
that
went after Jamie.
isn't it funny how even if you're like involved with someone, if you don't have the clout, they'll just go after the person with the quote unquote
What
clout?
with the clout? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bizarre.
Yeah. It's like, do you know what you're, it's like, then that's when I'm like, you know what you're doing. You're playing the game kind of,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
he knew, and because that's what his audience. That was his gig. He was a concerned troll who found people that let's all take moral offense at these things that this person is doing and saying, and drag them for a couple weeks, and then turn them into a lulz cow. Basically, they try to turn people into a lulz cow, and that's their content, and it's everybody knows that that's what's going on. But back to the whole Discord thing, that's just kind of an example of how the kind of dumb fuckery kind of stuff that goes on in Discord, and that it bleeds out into the live streams from there. So what's some of your experience with some of the Discord stuff?
Well, number one, I didn't, so like when I was under a different name, even just kind of like in like 2 communities or whatever it was, I was in Discords, but I knew that whatever was put in Discord could eventually get out. That's the number one thing. A lot of people think that's private, and
No.
it's not. That's
Yeah,
the
we're
main
telling you
mistake.
right now. Always expect your
Yes.
words to be screenshot.
Anything actually on
Always.
the internet.
Yeah.
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 Um,
Always.
yeah. That's the number one advice, I guess. I've seen a lot when I started going to Discords again. It actually wasn't until recently because I know that Discords get out, and I knew that basically so I just basically made rules for myself. If I go into a Discord and I see fuck shit, I just leave it. If I am in a Discord and I say something, I just know that it probably could see the whole world. Um, I've seen a lot of stuff go down in Discords. But normally if I see something that's like, I guess you could say like inciting some sort of, I don't know, I don't want to say like war, but inciting some sort of like big gang up or I just leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I just don't participate and I just don't log in for a few days. A lot of people I've noticed are in Discords like all day, every day. Because like you said, there's voice chats and there's you can just sit there and kick it with your friends all day in a voice chat if you wanted
Yeah.
to.
If you
And
wanted
then
to. Yeah.
you don't have to be in the public eye, like actually streaming on YouTube or whatever the platform is. So that happens a lot. I've never done that though. Because it's a slippery slope. I know myself because I probably would think, oh, like I can just be in this voice chat, let's kick it with a couple people. And then I
Mm-hmm.
start hearing things and then all of a sudden I'm involved and
Yep.
I basically
Yep.
have rules for myself. And if I do see things kind of get greasy, I just leave and I don't participate.
Yeah. That's a smart. I mean, again, it's a very simple kind of a thing to do. It's not always
Yeah.
easy to actually do it, especially when emotions are involved and addiction. Because again, this is a very real addiction for a lot of all of us. I mean,
Right.
I've experienced it, and actually this has become a somewhat of an addiction for me, and so I have to
Yeah.
tread real lightly.
Yes,
With
yeah,
this kind
same
of
here.
stuff.
I can't honestly say that I'm on YouTube and all these different communities like just hanging out and stuff because I'm just like a normal everyday person. I mean, obviously I'm here for a reason. It's because it amuses me. It's my entertainment.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I can't say that I'm, some sort of, I just know everything or I'm better than somebody because I'm in the same
Right.
fucking platform as everybody else.
Yeah.
But just to be honest with you, worse than because you know what I think people eventually kind of figured out oh, Discord's not private. And a lot of people started realizing that Discord, I see more stuff happen, like what you're saying, in private chats or group chats, I should
Mm-hmm.
say.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's more, I think now Discord, because when I first started like being on YouTube and stuff like 4 or 5 years ago, it wasn't, it felt more personal maybe to be in a Discord. Whereas now in Discords, it doesn't seem that way to me anymore. At least the ones that I'm in, it doesn't feel like this close knit thing as it used to. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
that's just a change in just, the internet in general or what, but now it's the group DMs and stuff like that. The group chats feel more
Yeah,
personal.
that seems, yeah, I see a lot of
Because I
that kind of
think,
stuff now too. Yeah.
especially if it's like on a platform like Facebook, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
the best advice, if people are like, oh, let me add you to like a mod chat or something, because Facebook seems more personal, because
Right.
make a separate Facebook for your online activity. The group DMs that I'm on or in on like Facebook, I have a Daria Facebook account
Mm-hmm.
specifically for that. I don't go in there with my real name,
Right.
A lot of
Right.
people make that mistake because it feels more personal, it feels more intimate that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people get this false sense maybe of security. I don't know what it is, but I see more fuck shit happen in group DMs or group chats more than Discords now.
I think that, yeah, it has kind of become the new Discord.
And
I've seen
I
a
think
lot of
it's the
screenshots
platform.
coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus. I couldn't imagine anything anybody told me personal, even if, I don't know, let's say you told me in a DM like, oh, I don't know, I got a new stove today. Even something like that, if I put out a personal DM from somebody, I feel that's such a violation of, I don't know what it is, man. I could never do it. Not even something as stupid as someone bought a purse or something.
Right.
It's such a, anything personal like that, I can't imagine spreading out. I just couldn't. No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Not even
And
to prove a point, I don't think.
right. Yeah. Which, and it's the status quo,
Yeah.
sharing private screenshots and
Yeah. Oh my
private
God.
information. It's just, it's so commonplace now,
I know. I,
and
I
which is,
barely
and
phased
everybody's so
now.
desensitized to it.
Yeah. I barely am phased by it anymore, honestly. It's really sad that I am. I remember being around these kind of communities when like I said, like 4 or 5 years ago, if someone's like name got doxxed, it was like a giant deal. Now it's like common every day. It's just crazy.
Yeah. It's sad. I mean, it's what the internet has done to our society. It's the
Yeah.
ramifications of this are going to be felt for a very, very long time. And I don't really know what some of the solutions are to some of this kind of stuff. And I fear, there are going to be, like, they're already trying to ban TikTok. They've created this image that TikTok is just all about women twerking and, cam girls. And that's not the case at all. It's a very politically active platform. And that's the real reason why the pretend reason, the concern troll reason is, China is trying to undermine us with, all this filth and garbage, and, they're stealing your data. But the real reason is they don't want people being political on TikTok, because now all of a sudden they're talking and sharing ideas, and, people getting aware and all that kind of stuff. And so that's my fear, is that just going to see more and more draconian efforts to clamp down on the internet. I mean, because we've opened this floodgate, and it's, in a lot of ways, it's ruined society, but in a lot of ways, it's really enlightened society. It's created a way for people to talk about things in a way that they've never talked about it before. So,
Yeah, I'm always
it's
interested to see how it
it's
will play out in the future, really.
yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky, and it's complicated, and it's just, when people just, have these really basic ideas about what the problem is and what the solutions are, it's just like, no, man, it's way more nuanced than that, and it's way more complicated than that. Just educate yourself, so you can
Yeah.
actually, have it, and because that's what we need, and that's what's so disappointing, and that's what's so missing in a lot of the communities that, we both frequent. It's just the lack of dialogue, the lack of intellectual communication and discourse. And removing as much as we can our emotions from this stuff. And could we just now have a talk Can we just talk about these things like adults?
Right.
Instead of everybody, flying off the handle and people trying to incite other people and, canceling each other and, all of the, the nonsense that goes on. It's disheartening. And
it is.
It is.
It really is. I love having conversations with people and looking at different ways of things. I don't mind being wrong at all. I love seeing other perspectives. I love learning things. I mean, if I'm just sitting in a little tiny echo chamber and everybody's telling me that I'm right all the time, I would honestly be creeped out by that. To be like 100%, I would be creeped out that no one was telling me at all at any point that I was wrong.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
I'd
Shut
be
up.
Concerned.
I would be too. Yeah, exactly. Because none of us. I mean, that's something I really had to get to that place where it's like I'm okay with being. Everybody's wrong. It's not a big deal to be wrong. Let's get over this, shame and embarrassment and guilt that we feel for being wrong. And, and that's where, people, when people dogpile on other people when they're wrong, let's not do that because we're just making the situation worse. Let's just, but
that's why I even tell people that come from like different chats and stuff. I'm like, hey, if they come and try to hang out in a chat or something, just show them a little grace. Don't say like, I can't believe you're a part of this person for so long. But just chill out a little bit, even as something as small as that, It's like, can people just chill the fuck out?
Exactly. Just be, that's the message, I think that's the takeaway from all this is everybody just chill out a little bit, let's start being a little bit more mature about this, it's just not that big of a deal. It just isn't. There, as we were discussing earlier, there are far worse things going on in this world than people being offensive, people hurting people's feelings. It's just, this is child's play compared to a lot of it.
Oh, yeah. 100%. And I encourage everybody to just take a little bit of time, especially if you have children, to find out what actually goes online, especially what happens with kids. And just please learn about it. Even if you don't bring it to YouTube and don't bring it, even think about it in the YouTube fuckery, do it for yourself.
Do it for yourself. Yeah. Well, this has been a really, really good discussion. And I'm glad you were here. And I think we should do at some point do a part 2 because there's a lot to talk about and unpack. And I'm sure, all the things that will happen between now and then, give us more stuff to talk about. But thank you, Daria, so much.
Hold on, my dog. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, go for it. Yeah, I'll yeah. What kind of a dog do you have anyway?
A pit bull.
Oh, cool.
My goodness. He's mad because I'm not looking at him. I'm not even joking. It's huge attention. He just wants me to be, petting him 24/7 and buy him.
Oh, yeah. My Kirby, my bulldog, he was the same way.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for having me. And I really I love having talks like this. And I would have this talk no matter what, any time of the day, no matter if it's a podcast or not. I love these types of talks.
Yeah, it's good. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. I'm hoping to be an example to people that, hey, you know what? We can talk. It's a thing, it's a thing to have discourse with each other. We don't have to be, trying to cancel each other and yelling at each other and, all that kind of stuff. So I think you're a really good example of that too. Even as a chatter, it's just not that big of a deal. I can be over in this person's chat and then go over here without it being a crime. It's just not that big of a deal.
Exactly. 100%.
Cool. Again, thank you so much. And we'll do this again. We'll definitely do this again. And, maybe at some point I'll kind of, I'll start doing like a live stream and get like a panel, get like 2 or 3 people engaged in a nice little dialogue and discourse with each other. I think that would be interesting.
That would be awesome. That would be super cool. I would love it.
It would be. Cool. All right, Daria.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I think this has been really good for people. Thank you, everybody, for joining this episode of Reflections. There are donation links in the description box below. Your donations are very welcome and very appreciated. And that is it for this episode of Reflections. I will see you all next time.